Hi guys, I'm back. 95% better, not 100%. Some days I feel really good and then all of a sudden I don't feel so good again. Apparently this virus that I had, I'm thinking it might have been COVID. That's how it kind of goes. You think you feel well and then all of a sudden you don't, but nothing like as bad as I was. So well enough to do this. So what I've got here, and I'm going to try and do a well, not try, I am going to do a blue lace agate. Somebody requested it a while ago, I don't remember who, but I thought I'd give it a try. And what I've got here, this clay that's all chopped up here into different sections, is the equivalent of 2 blocks of Pardo, so a block like this, but this is all translucent. So I've got a half a block here of just translucent, and then the other half of that block I cut in half again, and on one piece I added 2 pea sizes of white, and on the other one 1 pea size of white. And then the other block that I've got here, approximate, they're not exact, but let's just say roughly equal for 4 parts and a little bit less. So let's just say that was like that. So that's 4 equal parts, and I took a little strip away from that. I'm going to add some Cernit apricot alcohol ink onto this strip and mix it thoroughly in. So that's going to just go there for a minute. This is just translucent, and that's staying translucent. And then the other 3 strips, on this one I've got 2 pea sizes of Anglesite Pardo, which is this one. And then on this one I've got 1 pea size of the green Calcite, again Pardo. And on this one I've got 1 pea size of the blue Zircon, which is this one. All right, so they're all the clays. You'll also need some liquid clay, translucent liquid clay, and some white pearl mica powder, and some white acrylic paint. And I think that's everything. So I'm going to put my translucent there. That's going to get rolled out onto a strip, and I'm going to roll the translucent onto a number 6 on my Atlas 150, 0 being the thickest setting, so it's going to be quite thin. The white I'm going to mix into each of these, and I'm going to roll those onto a 7, so a little bit thinner than the trans. And then I'm going to mix all the colours into each of these and then roll those out onto a number 7 also. That's for down the road, that piece of trans. And then the alcohol ink in this one, which actually I should do that now, shouldn't I, just so you can see how much I put in. I'm doing very subtle colours on this, or I'm trying to, and I'm a little bit worried that even that is a little bit too much. I might take a little bit away. But on the one with the alcohol ink, it's just 2 little drops like that. All right, I'll let that dry obviously, and then I'll pass it through the pasta machine, and again that will be rolled onto a number 7. All right, so I'm going to go and mix the ink into this one and the colours into all of those, all rolled onto a number 7, except the translucent, which is going to be rolled onto a number 6, and I will be back. Right, I've done all my mixing and I've cut everything into equal size squares. I just used this 1.5 inch square cutter. Right, so it's a little bit, I haven't got a lot of room, so I've ended up putting all the different things on pieces of paper so I can shuffle it around. Okay, so the first block then is going to be this. So that was the, which blue was that one? One of the blues. Not that one. Not that. Okay, so this one was the Anglesite. So, sorry, Anglesite, not Anglesite. Anglesite. Cut into equal squares. And then these 2 squares here are the translucent mixed with... oh, was it 1 or 2? Now I can't remember, guys. Hang on, let me think about it. So the translucent that had the 2 piece sizes of white, that's those there. And then 4 squares of just the translucent. So that's 1 stack. The next one then is the blue Zircon cut into equal squares. 4 squares of trans again, and 2 of the trans mixed with 2 lumps of white, and then 2 squares with the apricot alcohol ink mixed in. So that's that one. And then same thing again with these. That's the other blue that I did, plus the 4 trans, the 2 trans mixed with the 2 bits of white, and then the sodium apricot alcohol ink on that one. This one here is all translucent with just one of the yellow squares or apricot squares. And then this one is the leftover squares of, this is all of the trans mixed with just one piece of white. And then these ones at the bottom are the rest of the trans mixed with 2 bits of white. So I had to divvy it up a little bit. So let me just see what I did. So for the blues, there's 10 squares of blues for each one, 4 squares of trans, 2 squares of trans with 2 bits of white, and then just the 1 yellow on that one. But the others are all the same. So 10 colours, 10 colours, 10 colours, 4 trans, 2 trans and white. Hope that makes sense. And then over here I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15 squares of trans. That's basically what was left over, plus the 1 apricot. And then for the last one, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 of the translucent that just had the 1 pea size of white in it, and then 5 of the other. Hope that all makes sense, but I tried to divvy them up as equally as I can, but obviously I wanted more trans in this and this one, because this is going to make up 1 block. All right, but I'm just going to put that to one side for now, because we'll do that at the end. So that's going to make up 1 block. I've just got to shuffle everything around, guys, because I'm out of room. And then these 2 are going to make up 1 block. So the slightly darker blue and the one that looks a little bit like lavender is going to make up 1 block. And then the lightest blue is going to make up another block. So I'm just going to put those out of the way and we'll start stacking these ones, okay? And I'm not being overly precise about which order you stack them, but you need the translucent just for a little bit of line of separation. So let's just start stacking then. Oh, and I forgot to say, guys, as well, I said I was going to roll my translucent squares onto a 6. I actually rolled everything onto a 7. I changed my mind. All right, so I'm going colour, colour, trans. I'll leave that one there for the minute. Although we've got all of these over here, so it doesn't really matter. What am I doing? Derp. And I'm just going to keep doing that. Just keep stacking. And then have a line of separation and throwing in one of those trans with white mixed into it. It's just random stacking, guys. I'm not being overly precise. Like so. And I'm just going to throw in one of those yellow ones now. There's only a little bit of this, but I noticed in some of the stones that I looked at, there was a little bit of like a yellowy stripe in there. And you can see I'm being fairly random. We're just creating stripes, guys, really, at this point. Let's throw in that other little bit of yellow. Doop-a-doop. So I'm just stacking. It's going to be quite a big stack. I might have made too much, actually, guys. This is going to be a pretty big block, so you don't have to make this much. If you just want to make a smaller block, just do half the amounts that I suggested. Would be the easiest way to work it out, and then just divvy them up like I did, as equally as you can. All right, so I've just stacked those. It's as simple as that for this. I'm just going to give it a little squash. Make sure it's all stuck together, and it's just a simple stack, but I'm going to add a little bit of interest. So I'm going to grab my blade and blunt side down. I'm just going to chop through all the way to the bottom. Chop, chop. Careful not to cut yourself, because obviously you've got the sharp part pointing upwards. And trust me, I have cut myself doing this before. I'm just going to do that, cut through a little bit. It's just to make a little bit more interest. Move this wire out of the way. Okay. Close it all back up. Give it a little roll. I'm just going to grab a wet one because my roller's looking a bit grubby. Okay, just close it back up. Keep it in a nice square block, and this is conditioning the clay even more as you work with it, guys. And bearing in mind this is Pardo and it's a little bit more stubborn to condition, although this was actually very soft, the batch that I got. It was obviously very fresh. And I'm just going to cut through again. I'm just going to go across like that this time. Okay. And it's just going to help push some of that colour through, as you can see, look. So there's that. Close it back up. Okay, so that's one block, and I'm just thinking, yeah, I think I will do that actually. I'm just going to grab something that I can poke through, and I've been using these, which are quite handy for things like this. If I can open it. Which way does it open? Okay. These like steel rods, I've got a whole box of them. They're in my Amazon storefront if you're interested. And I'm just going to pick a thinnish one. I don't want too thick. And I'm just going to push little divots into this, just a few, like so. So that's going to push that down. That's going to create more of a wavy line, which is what you want. Now, I tried this a couple of times, and I tried with different colours. I used alcohol ink in the first batch, and I love it. I do love it, but it came out way too purple. Though having said that, Blue Lace Agate does kind of have a lavender hint to it, which is why I threw in that colour. And very subtle blues, so it's quite difficult to get the exact match. So I'm not going to guarantee that this is an exact match, because I decided to go with the Pardo clay for this instead of the alcohol ink. But I didn't practice it again with these colours, so fingers crossed it's going to work out okay. All right, so there's the first block. So you've got some little fractures and some little divots going on in that one. Okay, let's bring over the lighter blue that I did, and we're just going to do the same thing, stack. I throw in that yellow piece randomly, doesn't really matter where it goes. Okay, so just random stack. Oops. Like so. And I think I might forego a couple of pieces of these, because I'll just forego one of them, guys, because I don't really need it. So that's another little stack. And this one, once I've squashed it into a square, I'm gonna get my little rod again and do the same thing. Just push it through. Let's do an extra one in this one. Close it back up. So obviously this is a smaller block than the other one. This is just going to make one layer of the stone. Okay. I think I'm going to push a few little holes into this as well, just to add another little bit of interest. Excuse me, guys. So I'm just getting my needle tool and I'm just going to poke through. just random. You can put in a lot or just a few, it's up to you. I'm putting quite a few in. All right, so there's that one for that stack. Close it back up a little bit. All right, so that's little teeny tiny stack number 2. Okay, so there's that. And then the last stack is going to be a bigger stack again, and it's more translucent than anything else. Translucent, and the translucent with the white. So, right, let me think about this. Let's go trans and white. Trans and white with just, some of it's got the 2 pea sizes in, and the other's got 1 pea size in. So, again, I'm just going to be pretty random. Throw in that little bit of yellow. Yeah, so I was pretty sick there, guys, for a minute. Well, more than a minute, but it was awful, actually. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. It was terrible. There was one point where I felt so bad I thought I'd have to go to ER, but I was okay. I didn't go. So not entirely sure. I don't ever test myself, so I don't know if it was officially COVID or whether it was just some weird virus or flu. Don't know, but it was nasty. It was horrible. And it kind of hit every part of me, but not all at the same time. It's like it started in my head, in my eyes, you know, headache. My eyes were all swollen and puffy. My tongue was all swollen and sore, runny nose, all that kind of thing. And then the next day that was gone, but then I ached all over. And then the next day that wasn't there, but I had digestive problems. And then it went back to the achy body, and it just kept going backwards and forwards in between symptoms. It was so weird. And then there was a day where I thought, oh, I'm finally over it. So I actually got up and I did a little bit of pottering around, and within an hour, boom, back in bed. I don't know, it was just horrible. I mean, I do have an autoimmune condition anyway. So whenever I get anything like that, it tends to knock me, you know, a lot worse than it might do somebody else. And I'm sure that's probably kicked in now as well. But anyway, I'm here and I do feel loads better. So I'm just going to get that hair out. That's bugging me. All right, so I've just randomly stacked that as well. And you're basically just using the translucent to create lines of separation. Plus, it's a translucent stone, so you want to be able to see through it a little bit. Right, yeah, okay. So I'm just going to do lines through this one as well. Just want to push this all the way down. Just to create those little wavy lines. So, close it back up, and there's another hair. Oh dear, tipsy. It's always tipsy hair, always. And look, she has ventured in this room, but not very often, so it's probably just on me because I'm always cuddling her, maybe, I don't know. All right, so I'm closing those back up. And I think I'm going to do the dots in this one as well. So, boop, boop, boop. Like I say, do as many as you want to. That will do. Roll it, close it back up. And that's another block. So there's 3 blocks there, but don't forget we've still got this one chunk of translucent left over, because that's got to be incorporated too. So I'm not actually going to stack them just yet until I've decided which order I want them to go in. But there's the 3 blocks. Now this one is just going to be, you guessed it, chippy choppy. Some of the blue lace agate that I saw, it looked almost like it had a little bit of, what's the word, not druzy, quartz in there. So I'm kind of going to go with that, but I'm not going to do it like really fine chops. It's more of a chunky chop. And you only need like a little bit as well, because it's just going to be one small layer in the whole piece. Okay. Now for this, I don't usually use, I mean sometimes I do, but not very often. I don't usually use paint in my chippy choppy. I prefer to use liquid clay. But on this occasion, I'm going to use white acrylic paint. Now just be careful with it, because it's, if you put too much in your clay, just grabbing some gloves guys, if you put too much in your clay, it can affect the strength of the clay, so you just need to be a little bit mindful of that. So don't put a great deal in. So I am going to use a little bit of white clay once I've got my gloves on. Okay. Just any white acrylic paint. This is Winsor & Newton, which is quite expensive, but it's all I could find. So just a little blob like that, and even that's probably too much, but we'll see. So I'm just going to toss that in the white paint. Now, normally I'd say leave that to dry for a good while, but in this case, although I'm going to leave it to dry for a little bit, I don't want it to get completely dry, and there is a reason for that. When I finally form it into a block, I want some of that wet paint to kind of ooze. It adds a little bit of something to the overall look of the piece. So I'm not going to let it completely dry. But just for a few minutes. I'm going to let it dry just for a few minutes and I'll be back. I've let this dry a little bit, but as you can see, it's not thoroughly dry, and I don't want it to be. Okay. And then the next step is just to take some pearl white or white pearl mica powder. I'm using the My Spring because it's my favourite, listed in my Amazon. And I'm just going to take a little scoop of that and plop that in there. This is just to give it a little bit of glimmer. And it also helps to dry it off a little bit. Not that it really matters. Just give that a quick tumble. Just adding a little bit of sparkle, guys. And then I'm going to go with my liquid clay to help glue it all together. It's translucent. I'm using Kato, but you can use whatever. Sculpey. I've got an itch. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to use Pardo. You could use any translucent, but I do recommend going with a clearer translucent clay. So Cernit would be a good one as well. Primo's a little bit yellow for this, although the Primo white translucent is a little bit whiter, but Pardo's the clearest, so that's why I went with that. And once you've got your bits all covered in the liquid clay, just going to form it into a block, typical chippy choppy. Okay. And it is very wet, look, still, which is fine. Adding that liquid clay back into it has made it a little wetter again, but that's okay. All right, let me just wipe this up. Get some of it off my finger. In fact, I'm just going to take my gloves off now. I don't care if I get dirty fingers at this point. Okay, so we've got a tiny little block of chippy choppy. Like I say, you don't need a great deal. I'm just going to form it into a block. Oh, I've got a really itchy nose, guys. Form it into a little block. And then we just got to flatten it out so it fits the other block. And it's quite sticky at this point. So I'm just kind of going to mush it so it's going to fit on top of that other block. I'm just going to give it a quick roll. Get rid of that little blue spot. Don't like that there. So I'm just going to see if that fits, and that's close enough. All right, so we've got 4 blocks, although I don't know if you can constitute that as a block, but you know what I mean. 4 layers. Let's say 4 layers. All right, now it's up to you which way you stack them. I'm just going to go from dark to light with the chippy choppy on the end after I've cleaned my fingers off a little bit. That will do for now. I don't care that much. All right, so I'm going to go with the larger stack first. That's the one with the 2 darker blues in it, and there's a little bit of glitter on that, which I don't want. Not glitter, it's purple metallic leaf. Gets everywhere. Doesn't matter how much I clean, I'll still find bits of that or bits of glitter or something that sparkles, and I don't want it in my piece, but somehow it gets in my piece. It's like, okay, right, let me think. So I did the lines going that way, so let's keep the lines going that way, not that way. Okay, when we cut down, the facing that way. All right, and then I'm going to top it with that one, and I am just going to do it in the order that I made them, like so. But you don't have to. Actually, no, I'm not. I've changed my mind. I'm going to put the chippy choppy in between that one and this one. Looks like a big sandwich. Funny looking sandwich. All right, so once you've stacked it all, we're just going to form it into a nice tidy block. Make sure everything is nicely stuck together. And I've not grabbed any cutters, have I? Derp. So I'm going to have to do that. But I probably am going to use moulds for a couple of them, guys. Now, I've mentioned these moulds before, and I got them from Yaroslav Molds in Russia, but he's no longer in operation. So if you don't have moulds, it's no biggie. If you cut your pieces a little thicker, and if you drape some cling wrap over it before you cut it, that will give you a domed look anyway, to make it look like it's more mold-like. But I think I am going to use some of these molds, so I'm just going to grab a few. I've not decided which ones yet, and I also need to grab some cutters, but I'll do that in a minute. All right, so I'm just going to continue forming this into a nicer block, and then I'm going to pop off camera for a quick minute just to find the cutters that I want to use, because I forgot to grab them, and I shall return. Okay, so there it is. That's the block. I'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, I'm back. I've picked out some cutters. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of them, but this one I'm definitely going to use, and this is from Oh Joy Creations. I'll link her shop in the description and the pinned comment, so check either the pinned comment or the description. All the information for links and Amazon storefront, etc., are all in there. I might use this one again, Oh Joy Creations, and this one, Oh Joy Creations, and this one is from Kaylee and Clay. She's based in England though, but if you're from England, she's your gal. And then obviously I said I was going to use some molds. I'm not going to show you all of these on camera. I'll just do a couple, and then I'll do the rest off camera and show you at the end. Okay, so I'm just going to soften this back up a little bit. It's been sitting for a few minutes. Okay. Nice neat block. All right, and I'm going to take, let me think, let's go with this one first. So I'm going to do this one on camera. Fairly thickish chunk. I like my stones to be quite thick. So there's that, and that's what it looks like pre-bake. Obviously the translucent, you can't see that great, but you'll see once it's baked. Okay, so I'm just going to roll this out a little bit, clean my roller again, give it a little roll. So obviously I need to make it big enough to accommodate my cutter. Excuse me, guys. I'm seeing little flecks of something that I don't want in there. That little red bit there, what is that? That's annoying. So roll it out as evenly as possible. Just going to go on the back side of it and clean it up because I can see another tipsy hair right there. Actually, I don't think that is a tipsy hair. It's a bit long. I don't know, might be mine. Actually, no, it's a tipsy hair. And then there's like a little blodge of something there. I don't know, this has gotten a little bit dirty. So I'm going to grab a wipe and some isopropyl alcohol, aka rubbing alcohol, which you can get from Walgreens or just about anywhere. You probably can even get it in Walmart. Yeah, I think you can. I'm just going to clean this off because that looks a bit grubby, and this is perfect for that. It's perfect for cleaning things up, getting fingerprints off. So you just have a so much nicer clean piece when you're finished. And I can still see a hair. That one's stuck in there, I think. Did I get it? There it is. And there's one there too. Ah, dear me. Okay, I think that's clean enough now. Now, the choice is yours on how you want to finish them. I'm probably going to sand and buff, and I will show you at the end. Now, I do have a video on how I do that, so I will leave a link in the description, and I've gone and put more hair on there by using that rag, because I'm a derp. Let's re-wipe it. This is my life, guys. I do stuff like that. I get everything nice and clean, and everything's nice and precise. And then I go and do something stupid and use a dirty rag on it. So I've got to clean again. And there's another hair. What the heck? It's probably the same hair. Oh dear. Right. I'm leaving it now because I could be here forever cleaning that, but it's good enough. I'm going to turn it back the other way. And now I've got to dry this because it's not going to stick. And I'm going to go and put the dirty rag on it again, aren't I? Yeah, I did. Right, ignore that bit, guys. Hey, give me a break. I've got COVID brain. It's like, yeah, what's your excuse for all the other times that you're like that, which is just about every day. Okay, right then. So I'm just going to use this. Let me get a bit that I like. Try and avoid that bit there because that looks dirty. Right, let's go here. Okay, so I'm just going to grab my block and cut this baby out. Now this cutter is amazing, and because it's wet underneath, it's not sticking to the tile, so it's probably not going to cut through very well. So I'm just going to try again. Like I say, it's a brilliant cutter, but because it's got some little tiny cutaway bits there, it can be awkward to get it out, and especially if it doesn't stick to the tile like mine didn't. But I just like to give it a wiggle on all sides of it just to loosen it up a little bit, and hopefully it's going to pop out fairly easily, like so. Now, don't throw away these scraps because I'm going to show you what to do with them. This is like a 2-for-1, guys. But there's the first piece. That's looking rather divine. There's that first piece. And I'm going to bake these on a tile. So I'm just going to pop that there. I'm going to clean them up afterwards a little bit as well. Like I say, don't get rid of your scraps. I'm just going to put them all to one side, and then I'll show you what you can do with them to make another stone-like piece. And you could actually even say it still looks like blue agate, because they do vary. I'm doing the more stripy one. All right, so I'm going to take another chunk. I'm not going to do a mould on camera because I feel like I'm all fingers and thumbs, but I'm just going to use this one here. And that's the one from Calcite Clay, based in England. And I'm going to give this a roll. Now, you don't have to do it so that the stone runs like that. You can do it so it's at an angle, like so, which is what I like to do. It just changes the look of each pendant a little bit. So make sure that's nice and fairly level, and I am going to kind of do it like so, and cut that one out. All right, so I'll do a few more pieces off camera, and then I'm going to go and bake them for an hour at I'm trying to think. I only used Pardo, didn't I? Yeah, and Pardo cures at, I can never remember Pardo, 120 degrees Celsius or 248 Fahrenheit. So for me, that's 248. I might go a little bit higher. It doesn't matter if you go a little bit higher. Polymer clay can withstand temperatures higher than recommended, as long as you don't go over 350 degrees. Or is it 300? Can't remember now, guys. I'm having a brain fart. Either way, as long as you're under 3, you're good. Having said that, though, Kato liquid clay cures at 300, so it can get a little bit confusing. I don't worry too much about curing the Kato liquid clay at that temperature. I've never had an issue at just baking the temperature of the clay. So anyway, I'm rambling. I'm just going to go and bake these for an hour. I'm going to bake them in probably 260. Let's say 260. I'm rambling. I don't even know why I'm saying that. Bake your Pardo according to the instructions on the packet. Oh dear. Oh dear me. And there's that one, guys. All right, so that's those two. I will do some more, like I say. But yeah, excuse me. Actually, I will do one more, because otherwise, if I don't, I'm not going to have enough scrap to show you the other thing that I was going to show you. So I'm just going to take another piece, and let's go with this heart mold. I've made this one a little bit thinner because these molds aren't overly deep. I'm just laughing at myself, guys. I was rambling on about baking clay. It's like, oh dear, shut up, Deb. Oh dear. Right, I'm just stuffing that in there. I'm not being overly careful with it. Just get it in there. Get it in there good. Like so. And Pardo is a little bit of a stiffer clay, so it's a little bit harder to form this. Cern it would have just gone straight in there, no problem. Oh dear, give it a roll, flatten it out a little bit. Make sure it's in there, and it's looking a bit grubby on there, but don't worry about it, because I'm going to slice that back bit off. I'm just trying to make sure it's equally in there, like so. And then I'm just going to get rid of the excess, and that can go on a scrap pile, like so. Now, I've had this for several years, so it is a bit battered, and you can see where I've actually accidentally cut into it and all that kind of thing. So when I pop it out, it's going to need tidying up, but it's good. Okay, just pop it out, and there's that one. So you can see that's where I cut into my mould, so it's left some raggedy bits. Not a problem. I'm just going to chop those away. I think I got lost in thought. I think I was starting to say you can, what you want to do with sand, whether you want to sand them or resin them. I personally prefer sanded and buffed for the stones, but I'll probably resin one or two just so you can see the difference, and then you can decide which one you prefer. And that is looking lovely. So there's that one as well. All right, so I've done 2 cutters and 1 with a mould, and I've got some stack left, but I'm just going to quickly show you. Sorry guys, there they are, pre-bake. I'm just going to quickly show you what to do with these scraps. I'm just going to gather all the scraps that I've got so far. I'm going to have more, obviously, because I've still got this much block left to make a couple more pieces. And I've actually got a little bit, this is all the leftover from when I was cutting out the square, so that can all go in as well. And I'm just going to take little bits of it like this, just random, and I'm going to pass it through on the pasta machine to a fairly thin setting, maybe number 5 or 6, doesn't really matter which. You're just thinning them out a little bit. All right, and then as you do that, just come back and stack it on top of the other. All right, so I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to take little bits like this and then just kind of rip it and randomly stack it wherever. You're just making a messy little pile like that. So I'm going to go and do the rest of that and I'll be back. So I've got my little rough stack like this, and I mean it's extremely rough, but that's okay. I'm just going to form it into a little block. Doesn't matter if you kind of stick your fingers in it and all the rest of it. You can be quite brutal with it. And I've also rolled out a piece of clay here onto a number 7. This is white. I'm not going to need all that, but I just rolled out a chunk and that's what I got. So, but yeah, roll that onto a number 7, so that's quite thin. Like this, just form it like this. Make sure it's a nice little neat block. Like I say, you could even, this could have probably even passed as a blue lace agate, even still doing this, because of how the stone varies a little bit. Obviously I was more precise with these ones because I was going for that more stripy look that you see in them. Or you could just call it a blue agate, whatever. All right, so when you've got your block, just take some white and the white and lay it on the top. Let's just cut that excess away. Okay, just put that on the top like so. Give it a little press down. And then I'm just going to cut lines through it, guys, and this will give you another stone-like piece or pieces, and you've not wasted any clay, so it's kind of cool. So I'm just going to chop some random lines or directions. Mush it back together. And then that's really all there is to it, guys. So you'll see what I mean in a minute. I will make one pendant using this so you can see. I've got some dirt on that. See how I'm distracted? I'm like doing one thing and then I like notice something else over there and I'm like, ooh, I'm like a squirrel. And honestly, I honestly think since I've moved to USA, I've got like that. I don't think I was like that when I lived in England. I'm wondering if there's something in the food. Oh dear, I'm definitely more scatterbrain, that's for sure. Right, so that's a little scrappy block that I did, and all I'm going to do is take a slice like so, and it's just a mishmash of colours, but it looks kind of cool when it's baked. Whoops, wrong way. So let me just cut these up so you can see. So that's kind of what it looks like. It's just mishmash, but it'll look really cool when it's baked. It's just extra pieces that you can make. Let's go with a different shape. Let's go with this triangular shape for this. I should probably dry that off before I try and put the clay in it, otherwise it won't stick in there. I've just realised I've still got paint all on my hands. Okay, let's grab a bit then. Let's go with this bit and just kind of stuff that in there, like so. And I've still got some more bits. I've still got all this left, guys. Anyway, I don't know whether oh yes, I did say about the resin, didn't I? Oh my gosh, I think that's the third time I've said that now. Oh dear. Did you miss me, guys? Oh my gosh. Oh dear. Right, I'm just going to give that a little bit of a clean because there's a few little schmutzy bits on it. And another hair. That one's stuck in there good. Got it. Got it. Actually, it does need cutting down a bit, so I'm not too worried. And there's one of my hairs. Just tidy the back up a little bit. I think that's good. All right, so that's that one. Let's pop that one out, and that's what that looks like pre-bake. And any scraps, you can either just mix it all up, or I don't know, whatever you want to do with it. Throw it into a chippy choppy. There's always ways to use up your leftover clay, especially when it's translucent. I'm more inclined to do something with my translucent than I am leftover scraps of colour. And I tend to just like toss that in a bin and just forget about it, and I'm terrible for that. But when I've run out of black, I've got plenty of scrap to mix with Kato Blackout, and I've got black clay. All right, guys, I'm waffling. There's that one that was just used from the scraps. I'm going to pop that one there. I'm going to go and bake these in the oven for an hour, and I shall return. Alrighty, I finished them. Well, I haven't dressed them because I haven't decided what I want to do with them yet. But here's a heart one that I did. This is sanded and buffed, and like I say, I have a video on how I do that. I absolutely love it. Let me just show you the translucency, guys. I actually found my little light. I couldn't find it last time. It's so gorgeous. So there's that one. And then that's the stone shaped one that I did using the cutter from Kaylee and Clay. There's that. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And you see what I mean about the paint kind of being a bit oozy? I left it deliberately wet because I wanted it to do that. It just kind of had some more fractured look. So there's those two. And then I resined this one, as you can see. So it's all on what you prefer, guys. I mean, I like shiny, but I think stones I prefer sanded and buff, but I don't hate either of them. But there's that one. And then I did a little pair of earrings, which I also resined. Well, there will be earrings when I finish them, which is also resined. Let's have a look at that one. Yeah, it's so nice. Gorgeous. So there's that one. And then I just did one using the scrap, or I don't even like to call it scrap, it's leftover. It actually doesn't look anything like agate. I think what I did last time, which I didn't do this time, which gave it a different look, when I formed the stack, I then cut it in half and restacked, and it gave it some like lines running through. I didn't do that on this one, but I actually really like it. And when I make some more, I'm not going to stack, I'm just going to leave it like that because I love it. And it does look stone-like. Doesn't look like blue agate, but it looks stone-like. All right, guys, so they're the pieces for today. I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later. Bye.